Good evening, everyone, and very warm welcome to today's webinar. We are delighted to have you with us as explore the opportunities and experiences that we awaits you at SLTC Technology Campus. So, to help you get a better feel of SLTC University, we have put a short video together here. Let's take a look.
Welcome to SLTC Research University, where innovation meets tradition. Located in Trace City, Colombo for postgraduate students. And Paduka for all other undergraduate programs. SLTC, where dreams become reality. Nestled on a serene 35-acre campus, our university offers a peaceful haven for over 2,500 students to thrive academically and grow as complete all-round individuals in all aspects of life as responsible citizens. Our campus is not just a place to study, but a place to live. We have a tight-knit student community with a hostel capacity that boasts 800 dorm rooms. Spread out across the campus are 2 canteens which are open all through the day, all coming together to provide students a vibrant, supportive community. We groom our graduates to make a positive impact on society, and we're proud to be ranked second among non-state universities in Sri Lanka and 14th overall. With a remarkable 15:1 student-to-lecturer ratio, personalized attention is at the core of our teaching philosophy. Our majority PhD qualified lecturers bring real-world experience into the classroom, ensuring students learn not just from books, but from the wisdom of professionals. At SLTC, our commitment to excellence is evident across all our faculties. The Faculty of Business Management equips future leaders with the skills to excel in the global market. Our Faculty of Engineering fosters innovation and practical problem-solving skills, preparing students to tackle the challenges of tomorrow. The Faculty of Science lays down robust foundations, honing the curiosity and the thirst for answers in their journey across scientific inquiry and discovery. The Faculty of Computing and IT empowers students to become pioneers in these rapidly evolving fields. At SLTC, our dedicated Faculty of Technology is at the heart of our modern world. University life at SLTC isn't just about textbooks and lecturers either. We offer a vibrant calendar of events, from exhilarating concerts, theater, gatherings, and engaging clubs, to competitive sports activities. We have a long list of talented students who have even achieved national recognition in multiple sports disciplines. We understand that navigating university life can be challenging. That's why our dedicated non-academic teams and supportive staff are available to assist you every step of the way. From academic advisors to career counselors, we're here to ensure your success. You want to achieve it. At SLTC, we also open doors for our students into the international market with transfer options to prestigious foreign universities, ensuring they have every opportunity to pursue their academic journey on a global scale. SLTC, join us and forge your path to a brighter future. Your journey begins here.
Thank you very much for your attention. Now it is my honor to introduce and invite Ms. Bhagya Kanakaratne, lecturer in Department of Fashion and Textile at the Faculty of Science in Sri Lanka Technological Campus. Ms. Bhagya is a respected academic who has contributed significantly to advancement of science, education, and research at the SLT campus. Her dedication and expertise continue to inspire our students and enrich our academic staff. So she will continue our next session of our program. So join us in warmly welcoming lecturer Ms. Bhagya Kanakaratne. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Sidney, for the lovely introduction. Yes, so we have some participants and okay, so I'll be sharing my screen. Yes, everybody can see the screen, right? Yeah. Is it visible, Sydney? Yes, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, got it. So good evening, everyone. You must be a bit tired because we are having this session a bit late. But I promise you it's going to be an exciting one. And it's best if I can know if you, all the participants that's here, if you have some kind of knowledge about fashion. About fashion because we are going to talk about fashion, but then even if you don't have any background in fashion, that's fine. Probably you do have this passion, towards fashion. That's why you're here. So without further ado, let's talk about the topic. Okay, so fashion for a better future. So the title of this is actually, you can rephrase it in another way, which is how does fashion contribute to a better future? Okay, so fashion is not just clothes. So when we are going through this presentation, you can actually get a grasp of how big fashion is. So even as a student, when I was starting as a student, I didn't know any of this actually. So I thought it best that you know how big fashion is, and it has turned out to be an industry. So it's not just the clothes that you wear, for a party or to go outside. So it has become a big thing now. So that's why we need to talk about future and fashion together, okay? Because the fashion can actually shape our future. Yes, so we'll move on. So I want to know, so this will sort of be not a discussion, but I actually I want you to engage with me during this presentation, okay? So I think that's the best way you can get the best out of this session. So if you can tell me, so this is just, you don't, think that you don't have any experience about fashion. Just let me know, like what does fashion mean to you? Just some keywords. What do you think fashion is? Okay, so probably for sure, you have about fashion brands, fashion influences, and I don't know, fashionable clothes. So what does fashion mean to you? So in your life, what is fashion? So I think you can, the chat is open, so if anybody wants to drop anything, feel free, and I'll be actually checking that. So with your answers, I can actually shape our arguments and, go through the presentations. Yes. So for me, so I'll start off. So what does fashion mean to Me. Okay, we have one answer. Fashion is a lifestyle. Yes. Yes, Aisha, that's actually a good one. Okay. So lifestyle, so what does lifestyle include? It's not just the clothes that you make. So, sorry, it's not just the clothes that you wear, right? So it's also about how you behave, or I mean, simplest form, even how you walk, how you come to the office, how you are staying at home, and what you eat, what you wear, and how do you put your hairstyle, this is all. Actually, it's all to do with fashion. Okay, so it's actually a very good answer. So fashion is sort of a lifestyle, and it changes, and fashion always changes. So like that, even our lifestyles change. Okay, so it might take a decade or two, but still it changes, right? So fashion is ever changing, and that is why we need to update. That's why it says, it's out of fashion, in fashion. Because it goes out of fashion, and also some things come into fashion. Okay, so that's just a rough idea about what fashion is. And so, I mean, a lot of people have different definitions of fashion. Okay, so there's numerous definitions, but we'll go for the usual Oxford English Dictionary, where it's like properly, standardized what these definitions are. Okay, so it gives us two definitions. So the first one, it's called a prevalent or popular custom or practice with regard to manner of dress, adornment, social etiquettes. Okay, for example, the Vogue. So in here, the Vogue is the magazine, so some of you might have heard of it. So in here, I mean, in simple words, it says that fashion is to do with sort of expression, right? Self-expression. And it can be also categorized as a practice, like we talked about, the lifestyle. So it can be like but then this is within a certain period, right? Like fashion, it always comes with a expiry date, right? I mean, even if you can wear your clothes, some of the clothes for like 20 years, 30 years, but still it expires, right? It just gets worn out, and then you can't wear it no more, right? So, and fashion, with the fashion trends, right? And fashion trends, we have summer clothes, winter clothes. So it's just for a certain period. Okay, so for certain periods, it's the trend that gets popular, the thing that gets popular, that can be called fashion, right? And then the other meaning is that fashion is business. So business, as in fashion, has a commercial sense, right? So people sell clothes and people buy clothes. So this buy and sell, demand and supply. So this is also to do with fashion, right? So here, basically, what they're talking about is that I mean, there's two components that's included in fashion. Okay, so fashion has this component of individual expression, cultural expression, where you actually show off who you are to the world, so you kind of craft your identity, with the clothes that you wear, from the perfume that you put, the way you hope, like the way you put your hair, and the accessories that you wear, right? The way you walk, the way you talk, you are, I mean, without knowing, or I mean, unknowingly or knowingly, you are communicating your identity, right? Your expression to the world. So this is one way of how the buying. Okay, so all this is the part of this system, the commercial system. So people produce clothes and then they want to sell it, right? So fashion is a multi-trillion-dollar global industry responsible for the design, manufacturing, marketing, and distribution of clothes and related products. So in this sense, it is driven by seasonal trend, economic cycles, and constant demand for newness. So this constant demand of newness is coming from us, and then the industry is actually catering this demand. Okay, so they are making a lot. I mean, they are making clothes to for our demand, right? So in short, fashion is the evolving relationship between the clothing industry and the cultural appetite for self-expression and novelty. So basically, why do we shop? Okay, so if you ask this simple question, it's actually to express ourselves, right? So by trying to express ourselves, we create a demand. So if I mean, the clothes that I want might be different from you, right? And the clothes that you want is different from your friend. So I mean, because of this difference, because we have so many choices, and because we are all very individualistic and we have our own kind of taste, so it creates this demand. So if there's thousands like me, right? So it's like a 1,000 orders, no? Because we have different kind of needs, and like the styles that we wear could be different. So with this demand, this industry got created, fashion industry. So what they are doing is actually they are catering to this consumer demand. So they are supplying all what we are asking at fashion, how fashion kind of incorporates in our life. Okay, so so now we are talking about fashion for a better future, right? So in order to make our future better, we need to know what roles we play in fashion. No, so usually in fashion, if so the consumer, right? The role as a consumer. So here what I've shown is, so I'm sure that you everyone that's here, or most of you here, you are very keen on I don't know, maybe working in the apparel industry, in fashion, or you want to learn something about fashion, or you're thinking maybe the fashion, I mean, to see whether fashion is the right choice for you, right? So if you're someone, I mean, if you are directly connected to the apparel industry, like me, so hypothetically think I'm a designer, right? So I design at a clothing factory. So in this scenario, I'm a producer. So I produce designs so that the factory can produce, right? So they can manufacture. And I'm also a consumer. So the designs that I make, I might actually buy it from the retail shop, right? I might actually shop my own clothes. So then I become a consumer. So these two roles. So I'm at the same time, I'm a producer and also a consumer. But if nobody is connected to the industry, then you are only a consumer. So somebody else is producing these garments and you are only buying this. Okay. So these roles, the importance of understanding this role is you need to be you need to first you need to know what your role is, and then you need to become responsible, because the thing that I talked earlier, right, the demand and the consumer. So if the consumer is demanding something wrong or not ethical, then the producer might actually produce it because their end goal is profit, right? So it's not so usually like in a company does make profit. Okay, so they are how they make profit is that they have I think you have to be responsible because it's a garment. You need to extract raw materials from the earth itself, right? So nothing is, for example, so fibers. Fiber means, so when you have a cotton garment, right? So you have the cotton fiber. So you need to spin this fiber in order to get a fabric, right? So this fiber is taken out of trees, no? So these trees is it's not a infinite resource. So trees, it's finite, right? So it actually, we can go out of trees, one day if we consume a lot. So in that case, producers also need to be responsible because we share the same earth, right? So there's no one earth for producers and one earth for consumers, right? So we producers and consumers and all the other roles, they have to stay in this one earth and extract these resources and provide a supply for the demand. Okay, so we need to think about so it's not just, okay, you see some nice clothes, so you feel like, oh, you need to buy a sequin dress, just go and buy it. Okay, so because this buying the sequin dress has consequences. Okay, how did the sequin come, and do they have like hundred or thousands of sequin dresses like this? Okay, so would they all sell? Or if not, the things that's not getting sold, like what happens to them, right? And the one that you bought, how many times are you going to wear it? Are you going to wear it once and throw it away? And then what happens to this thrown away garment, right? So usually it ends up in a landfill. Okay, so these are the things that we tend to forget because these things are not very visible to us. Okay, so in our televisions, in social media, these things doesn't get shared. Okay, so it's just the fun part that is showing. Okay, so I'll go through this presentation and you'll see that there's a visible side to fashion and also an invisible side to you. So it's paramount that you learn, you actually find the truth about fashion so that you can actually be responsible when you consume fashion, also when you produce fashion. Okay, so so these roles, it's to emphasize this, just think about this mother and daughter relationship, right? So as a daughter, you might know, you should know, like, what are the duties, or how I might have to behave, in front of my mother, and what are my roles and what are my duties. So it's the same way, So if I don't know my duties and responsibilities, I might be a very not so good daughter, right? And it's not just about me, but even to have a good relationship between my parents, I need to know my duties and my responsibilities, right? So it's the same scenario here, okay? It's just that the mother is sort of like fashion industry, okay? Yes. So we'll start from here. Okay, so we talked about the role, so we know what role we are playing. And then the first step is actually, like I said, to find out the truth about fashion. Okay, so the story behind what we wear. So, okay, so there's a lot of people. Yeah, okay, so good answers. Okay, so fashion is a combination of emotion, culture, and nature. Yes, it's a combination, it's not just one thing. Okay, so dressing for your body type and experience. Yes, it's also important. Like, if you become a consumer, one way to be a responsible consumer is actually to know your style. Okay, know your personal style. So you don't go off buying all the things that you see, right? So if you develop your personal style, you can actually see what actually works for your body, right? So you don't tend to buy everything that you see. So we can actually reduce this impulsive buying, and you will buy something that you would wear for at least 15 to 20 years. Okay, not just you can mix and match a dress with jeans, like leggings. So from these kind of tips, you can actually make this one garment that you buy. You can actually have different styles of this one garment you buy. Okay, so probably in TikTok you would see all these kind of like a lot of these fashion influencers show, like they wear one jean and then they are showing, how do you wear this jean, like 10 different ways, right? So you can do it by yourself if you know your style, right? If not, it's a bit hard. So yes, and another person has said a creative language people use to express who they are as a mirror of culture, personality, and even rebellion. Yes. So as I said, it's about self-expression, right? So one thing is that it's about self-expression, and it doesn't necessarily, we wear fashion also to belong to a place and also to make us feel different, right? So we need to be different, but at the same time we need to merge with the crowd. Like, you don't like to be too different, or else you'll get bullied or something, right? So this rebellion and also this expression, even the reason, why people wear tattoos, they have piercing, it's a part of this rebellion aspect as well, right? So if your culture is not very, open to having a tattoo, or I don't know, exposing some parts of your body, so a person who has this kind of rebellion spirit might actually want to experiment in these areas, right? So it's a way of they are trying to express themselves to the world. Okay, so these are very good answers. Yes, so I would ask this one as well. I think you can raise your hand here. So how many of you actually know about the clothes that you wear right now? So how much do you know? Do you know about the garment that you are wearing right now? Like, what do you know about it, Or did you just buy it, out of impulse? Or, what do you know about this garment? So, usually, a garment, how we read it is that usually what we see is the colors, the price, the shape of it, like, does it fit my body? Most of the time, people who haven't studied that much, haven't gone into depth about the fashion industry, usually, these are the things that they see, okay? So, but for a garment, there's more to it, okay? Because there are a person who stitches this garment, and there's a payment that's been done to this person who stitches this garment, and there are materials that this garment is made of. And there's also care instructions. How do you care for your garment, right? So how many of us actually read these care labels, right? So this is why, so care label is there for a reason. Okay, so this is sort of like the history of a garment. So this is where actually you have this where you get the information. Okay, how it birthed, and what the information that's there is, you have where it's made of, like made in Sri Lanka or made in China or made in UK, and then you have its composition, so cotton, polyester, and if there's any special thing that they want to mention, for example, in the first picture that you're seeing here, so it says if it's not dirty, wash at 30 Celsius, right? So it's the temperature 30, so it's a cold water, right? So if it's not dirty, you can wash it at cold water, because I mean the reason is that if you wash your clothes at 30, you don't use a lot of energy, right? So if you're increasing the temperature, then that means the washing machine, I mean the washing machine needs to heat the water, right? So that takes a lot of energy. So the best way to save energy is to actually wash your garments in cold water. Okay, so that's why they have mentioned it. If it's not dirty, wash at 30. So here you can see yes. So even me as a student, like when I was a student, I didn't actually know how to read these care labels and the symbols. But I mean, there came a point where when I started to study fashion, I mean, this relationship between garments and myself and the garments that I wear, it became more intimate, and I actually wanted to, and I started caring more about the garments that I wear. Okay. So, how this changed is I wanted to wear my garments, the things that I buy, a long time, because I didn't want to throw it away, because it's more like a sentimental item, right? When you care for something, you don't actually throw it away that soon. Okay, so you want to actually like wear it as much as possible, and then just keep it as much as possible, and then also so in that sense, we try to, I mean, we want it to be durable, right? Even if it's not made out of not a very durable material, we want it to be durable because we love the garment, right? So this is the first step of being a responsible consumer. Okay, so everything that you buy, you need to have a record of it. Okay, you can't actually forget the things that you buy. Okay, so that's why, I mean, it can't be, it's better if it's not impulsive, it's better if it's conscious choice. Okay, so you are consciously buying something because you think that it adds to your wardrobe, and then you can mix and match it with other things, and that it has used the right materials. And so about the materials we will discuss at a later stage, but for now, know that it's important to know the material that the garment is made of. Okay, so in this sense, yes, so it's good that you read the labels, because it's a way of carrying your garment. Okay. Yes, so here, like on the other side, on the right side, you can see, all these, what these symbols signify. And then, yes, so these are the usual labels that you see. Okay, so if you are not reading them, start reading them now. Okay. Yes. So here, like earlier, I was telling you about, I mean, when it comes to the fashion industry, okay, so there are things that's visible to us, and there are things that's sort of invisible. Okay, so for a normal, like a lay person who has not studied fashion, these are the things that's visible to them. Okay, so for example, yes, the drawings of like the fashion illustrations, right? You've probably seen fashion illustrations, and also you'd like to try, drawing these things. And then you might have seen photographies of, or seen people who's like pinning garments onto dummies and, making all the alterations, sort of like tailoring. And then you might have seen, social influencers walking down the street, taking photos and all that. And magazines, probably you are open, I mean, probably you have seen that, fashion magazines. So this is, so in the left corner, you can see a fashion magazine, and on the other side, you can see this Gucci fashion campaign, one time that they designed. So here you have this particular illustration. So probably you have seen this, and then behind that, you see like a lineup of clothes. This is sort of like an exhibition setting where probably they're exhibiting some clothes from a designer. So you might have been exposed to these kind of things, and also fashion photography, and also the catwalks, right? Fashion catwalks. So earlier days, we were not, so not everybody can see fashion catwalks, because it's invitees only, okay? And it was, so you'll have to get invited to be a part of that physical environment, right? But now with COVID, we actually got the opportunity where you can participate online, and everything is live cast, on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. So now a lot of people are really exposed to the fashion scene. right? So this is one aspect, and the other one is this. So another one, like where normal people, lay persons, how they interact with fashion is the retail outlets. So we go and buy them, and sometimes we do window shopping, just to see what's out there. And then the other one is online. So we browse through the brand's websites, or else we just, check social influencers, what they're wearing and where they bought them. Okay. So these are the visible things that we have, that we see, right? So for the invisible things, I'm not going deeply into it. So you have some homework to do. So these are some movies that I recommend for you to watch. Okay. So I'm pretty sure you'll be surprised after watching this. So the first one, Buy Now. So the shopping conspiracy, it's actually about how brands, so fashion brands, for example, right? So fashion brands, they do this thing called fashion branding and fashion marketing, right? So these things have a direct impact in what we are buying. And I mean, if we want to buy from this brand or not. Okay, so if you don't know about the brand, the consumers don't know about the brand, so they don't know what to buy, right? So these algorithms, that you see in Instagram, Facebook, where we search something, and I mean, if we search something, like for example, fashion, like all of these fashion things just pop ups in our wall, right? So this Buy Now is actually, it's like an in-depth research on how fashion brands actually, how they kind of program our minds, okay, into buying things that they produce, okay, even if we don't want it, and also the damage that it causes, okay. So the true cost is it's actually about I think it was in 2015. So it is about this expose of human and environmental toll of fashion industry. So there is this so fashion industry, I know it produces very nice clothes, and like it's making everybody very pretty, and it's I mean, also fashion allows us to make statements, right? We can actually make statement through fashion, so we can build on our identity on fashion, right? But at the same time, it has a human and environmental toll, which is sort of negative. So it's actually talking about this exploitative labor, ecological harm, what's the harm that the fashion industry doing to our earth, and also the harmful negative things in consumer driven demand. Okay, so if you're not asking for the right things, probably that's not good for the earth and also the people, like even for us, if we think it might feel small, but then you are just one, because you are just one person. But if the same habit is copied or done by thousands of people, there's an impact, okay, a consequences. So it's actually talking about this true cost of fashion industry. And the other one is Made in Bangladesh. So it's like a case study of people who are stitching the garments in Bangladesh, so from their perspective. Okay, so this Made in Bangladesh is in YouTube, and the true cost is also in YouTube, as I remember. So have a go. So find out, what this industry is all about. So it has a very flashy, shiny part, and also it has a bit of a dark part as well. Okay, so but this is paramount. I mean, we need to know the whole holistic idea of fashion in order to be a responsible consumer or a responsible producer. Like if we don't know the damage that we are making, we can't actually be responsible, right? So that is the reason why you need to know the invisible parts and also the visible part of it. So how do we envision a better future? So yes. So when it comes to future, so probably you've seen, the technological and advancement that's happening in fashion. Maybe you're not aware of it, but probably ChatGPT and AI taking over the world, right? So with these developments, with technology and also with this shifting consumer sentiments, right? Now people are talking about sustainability, they want to care for the planet, they want to think about their neighbor, they want to think about their people, so because the rate that the fashion industry is going, it's not very healthy. Because a lot of clothes are produced, and that means if a lot of clothes are produced, then there's a lot of waste as well, right? So anything that's produced, it's gonna, there's an end life, right? So the life of this product is gonna end, okay? So then it becomes a waste. So even if your garment, at the end of its lifetime, it becomes a garbage or a trash, right? So I mean, in that case, if we produce a lot, then we produce a lot of waste as well. So right now we actually are struggling how to manage this waste that we are producing, but because people are not aware of it, they only think about the buying part of it, like how do we actually get, whatever fancies my mind, and like how do I get this latest, like shoes from Nike, or how do we get this, get our hands on this, like fashionable bag or fashionable clothes. But then this is all that we focus, but we are not thinking about the end result of it. Okay, so that we are eventually we are going to throw it away. Okay, and then what happens to this, right? So here I just wanted to show you, so with technology, fashion is changing at a rapid speed. Okay, so the photo in the left corner, so it's created using Mid Journey. So probably you have heard of this. So it's an AI integrated platform. So there, I mean, for fashion brands, they are using it for fashion photo shoots and campaigns. Okay, Mid Journey. So you just put a prompt and then it designs, all this. So they can actually have a concept and they can create these photo shoots according to the concept. So you just have to give the prompt to Mid Journey. Okay, and the other one is AR. So this is an AR. This is an avatar, virtual avatar. So this is not an actual human. So, but then she's been a part of fashion campaigns and she has been ambassadors for fashion brands as well. So mind-bending AR lenses created by a new generation of designers subvert traditional notions of identity and redefine beauty in the process. Okay, so probably you have seen this in Instagram filters. Even these things, you can put it in your face, right? So that's the simplest version of AR. Okay, but then now it has developed into a very yes, it has come, now it's in its boom. Okay, so this is not futuristic, actually, this is right now. Okay, so this is happening right now. It might actually look very futuristic, but this is at present. Okay, and this other one is like how fashion is changing with technology. So we'll just have a look at the first one. Okay, so it's just like so this marble designer is called, you can make 3D designs out of this. 3D as in you make the 2D patterns on paper or on AutoCAD, and then you transfer it to this software, and then it puts these patterns into a body, right? So let's see how they do it. Okay, so here you can see, so it started with the pattern and then it went on to a 3D body, and then they already did the photo shoot of it as well, right? So there's no human involved in all of this process, right? So I mean, the pattern maker is sort of replaced, and then you only need a 3D designer. So 3D designer will put the patterns into like a physical pattern maker is not needed, but then you have this AutoCAD systems where you make the patterns on screen, and then you have that, and then you put it into a 3D body, and then you can actually walk this dummy, mannequin, and see how it falls onto their body. And then when you finalize the garment, when you finalize the design, you can actually put it into a photo shoot as well. Okay, so everything is virtually done, right? So this is how the fashion industry is changing. Okay, so this is at present. So the other one is that, yes. So here you can see like it's a different version of how they put the patterns together into a body. But then yes, but then even here, you can see that there's no need for a photo shoot, right? So the whole video in itself it's sort of like a fashion marketing campaign. Okay, so it can be a part of a fashion marketing campaign. And so these things I mean, when we use technology, it has made our lives easier, but at the same time, I mean, we need new skills, okay, new skills in the business as well. So these are the things that's changing in the fashion industry. And yes, so so we'll go through this, and then we'll talk about how we can actually use technology in order to make our future better. Okay, not to actually make more waste, but actually do something more meaningful. Okay, yes, so here, so we were talking about generating waste earlier, so I'll tell you the reason. Okay, so here we have two economical economical model. So this linear fashion economy. So this is the model, this is the economical model. That's the way we actually manage our resources. Okay. So this is called linear fashion economy. This is the one that's been happening for half a century now. Okay. So it's like we get raw materials from the earth and then we design it, we produce a garment, and then people wear it. So there's a use stage, and then you either put it away or then you donate it. Okay. But still it goes into a landfill at the end of the day. Okay. So in this picture where you see essence, wordings. So here you can see, what I wanted to show you is, okay, there's a nice, like a lady, like a model that's wearing, clothes. And then on the other hand, there's a pile of, garbage that's piled up to her height, right? So this is the reality of fashion industry right now. Okay. So when you are buying clothes, there's a pile that's actually standing right next to you. Okay. So because that clothes are going to get into that pile, right? So eventually, and you are going to buy something new and then it goes to the pile. Okay. Buy another thing and then it goes to the pile. So what do we do about the pile? Right. So nobody actually, we were not taught about this, no? So we were actually, even as designers, I mean, in like 10 years ago, we were actually told to design something to sell to the customer, right? So when the customer buys the garment, my job is done. Okay. But now, but when after the customer gets the garment, even they don't know what to do, after they have, after its lifetime, the product lifetime is over, right? After it's worn out, they don't know what to do. But in Sri Lankan culture, but then our culture is a bit different, because in our culture, it's embedded, right? Because usually when we don't buy, if we don't like to wear something, after 2 or 3 wears, we usually give it to a friend, or somebody who's not known but who would actually benefit from the course that we have, right? Or we share it with a loved one, or we exchange, so these things are embedded in our culture, so that's quite sustainable. Okay. So but this is not the same story in Western countries. So usually they just throw away the clothes. Okay. That's why here it mentions donate. Okay. So they donate the clothes into another shop, and the shop sells the good ones and they throw the rest of it. Okay. So that goes to landfill. So landfill means it just, builds up on earth, and then it develops this methane gas, and that's not good for anybody. Okay. It's not good for us. It's not good for the sky. It's not good for the animals. That's, like the whole ecosystem is collapsing with this. Okay. So this is the negative thing about the fashion industry. Okay. So these things, so I'm sure you are aware, like when we went through this process, now these things have to change. Okay. It can't actually go on like this, right? So here you can see like the reality of fashion industry right now. Okay. So it's quite fancy from one side, but then it's actually standing on a pile of garbage. Okay. So it's just that industry is very this whole not the industry and marketing, everything that's been done, they are quite well in hiding the garbage part, and only to display, the prettier sides of fashion. Okay. But then this is like these are like some of the two sustainable photography. It's considered sustainable photography because it actually shows both ends, like it generates waste, at the same time it looks good. Okay. So this is the truth behind the fashion industry, like anything, like good and bad. So this is the reality of the industry, and I think it's quite important to know this, because it's to know, what we are getting into, because we need to find solutions for this. Okay, not just to learn about this, but then we should be able to find solutions so that we can actually make a better future, for not just for humans but all the living beings that's living here, and also to save our planet, because right now we only have one. Okay. So yes. So this, we were talking about linear economy, and then these are like few models that, that's out there. So I'm not going deeply into it because it's too scientific. So linear economy. So this is the first one is the one that we are usually having, but then there are now developments that's happening for recycle economy. Even in Sri Lanka, there's recycles who does, this PET recycling, and then who makes, fabrics out of plastics, and then it goes into production again. And there's another one called circular economy, right? So circular economy means it's there's no waste. The waste is not generated. It's almost like nature. Okay. So because nature doesn't have waste, right? So even, I mean, they produce humans, and after we die, we become like, soil. So it's sort of like this cycle, it's a complete cycle. It doesn't create any waste, or it doesn't create any methane. So this is the aim, okay? So everybody is trying to be circular now. So we are trying to be more circular economical. And as the industry, there's a lot of changes that's happening as well, because we can't actually go at this rate happening that's now, okay? So when it comes to, when we are talking about better future, it's not just for us, right? It's not just for me. It has to be for me, and also for my fellow members, and also to the planet that I live in, and also the people who are involved in, making these fashion items. So usually, when we buy something very cheap, we don't tend to think, how much the person who's actually making this might get, right? So if it's like a $10 t-shirt that you're buying, okay? So probably the person who stitches is get like half a cent or something, So that's why the garment is so cheap, because somebody else is paying the price, okay? So these things you need to so that's why, all these sustainable things, that's actually selling in the market, it's a bit expensive than the normal things that you buy, okay? But read thoroughly, why they are sustainable. But the price is higher because there's a reason, okay? Because they are actually living good wages for the people who make it, and then they are thinking about, so it's cruelty free, so and it cares for the earth, okay? So these are a few things about sustainable fashion. So how we make, so this is another step of being responsible consumer, as I believe. It's to actually think about the planet and also other living beings, right? So the first picture shows like sustainable fashion includes animal rights. So it needs to be eco-friendly. And then I was talking about materials, right? So recycled fabric is better than organic fabrics, okay? Because organic cotton, so I mean, if you research a bit, you can see it needs a lot of water to process, okay? So water, so it's our drinking water, okay? So gallons and gallons of water. So they are using it to make cotton fabric. So these water can be saved, for the people that needs it. If we use recycled fabric, okay? So it's best, if you buy recycled or mono fabrics, so that it's easier to recycle, okay? So you can actually find out, in the label if it used natural dyes, and also yes, and also, this way of, sharing your garments. You just don't throw away your garments when you wear it, but then you see, who I can trade this with, or who I can share this with, okay? So another sustainable fashion way is to actually buy anything handmade, so that you know who made this garment, and then the payment that you are making is actually going to that person, right? So fair trade, there's a concept called fair trade. Research a bit on it. And then there's recycle. So you can recycle the ones that you have used already. And then artisan garments, artisan designs, artisan fashion is also sustainable, because they don't produce in a lot of quantities, right? They produce like 10 pieces or 5 pieces. It can be quite expensive, but still it's sustainable because they are not extracting a lot of raw materials. And then it's eco-friendly, as we said, and it can be organic, okay? Organic, it's a bit, you can argue on it, but then organic in smaller quantities, not in bigger quantities, okay? Yes. So basically, we are going to finish it off as saying, the future of fashion is you. So it's actually in your hands to make every one of us to make it a better future for all of us, okay? So to build a better future for the fashion industry, we need both responsible production and conscious consumption. So the producers need to be produced responsibly, so they can't actually say, okay, consumers demand this, and that's why we are producing this, but they need to think about the planet more and the people, if they are good, if they actually if they are doing holistically, if they are doing a good job, okay? And then make less waste, so that so it doesn't harm the planet, or the living beings, that's animals, that's living in this ecosystem. And then as consumers, we need to be conscious about our consumption, okay? So we need to have an audit, from For example, how you can do is you can audit your wardrobe. Okay, so what are the pieces that's missing? So I'm only going to buy these pieces and I'm not buying anything else, right? So you can actually make this kind of a capsule collection. So you can mix and match and wear it. So you wouldn't, I mean, you are actually saving a lot of space because we don't have a lot of storage space to put all these clothes. And also you'd have a, like a timeless collection where you can wear it, for a long time. Okay. So, there's a call to action. So these are some of the takeaways that you can get from this session. Okay. So be a responsible consumer because that actually makes a change. Okay. So even if one person does it, so it creates a ripple effect. Okay. So you can actually talk about that to your friend and the friend's friend, so it kind of, I mean, this ripple effect, we don't know when we started, but then it creates a ripple effect. So we need to be responsible as a person. The first thing, so when you shop, ask who made this, what is it made of, will I wear it 30 times? Okay, so this kind of forces the industry to change because what you buy, so you kind of vote from your wallet. Okay, so what you pay money, you are saying yes to it, right? So that's why, and then companies, industry listen to this because you are paying with money, right? So if you are paying for something that's not so good, I mean, they don't care. As long as there's money, they're going to produce it. Okay. So this is why you need to be responsible. So elevate expression. So focus less on what's trendy and more on what feels authentic to you. So that this is the importance of having your own style. Okay. So try to find this style when you are young. So you can actually develop it with your age, but then you save a lot of money and also you save a lot of hassle if you can do this at a very young age. Okay, so share clothes with your loved ones, the ones that you don't wear, and you can trade clothes and you can mix and match what you already own. So you don't have to buy two pieces, all together. You can just buy one piece and match it with something that you already have. Okay, so use fashion as a powerful expression. So use your clothes not just to look good, but to support brands that align with your personal values. Okay, so these personal values can be, I'm minimizing my waste, right? And I want others, who are part of this apparel industry to have a living wage like me. Okay, so I need to make sure that the people who make these garments are also living a, fruitful life like you, right? So these are the personal values. So try to develop this. Okay, so these are some of the tips. And then as Emma Watson says, so as consumers, we have so much power to change the world by just being careful in what we buy. Okay, so it's not something easy peasy. Okay, so this is something, I mean, it's a decision that you make. Okay, even if you buy one garment, that's a big decision. Okay, so be careful of what you buy because companies, industry is listening. So whatever you buy, they're going to produce more. Okay, so that's the end of my presentation. So it's time to ask questions now. So if anybody has questions, you can actually unmute your mic and ask questions as well. And or else you can drop a message. Is everybody here? If you have any questions, you can put it in the chat as well. So if anybody doesn't have questions or you remember something later, you can contact me by this email. And thank you very much for listening for 1 hour almost. And I hope you gained something out of this session. And I hope I didn't actually kill your positive, impression about fashion, but it has its, pros and cons. That's why I wanted to show you. And it's a learning process. So yes. So if you have any feedback, do share with the committee, like the organizing committee as well. I'd be happy to hear it. And yes. Okay. Thank you very much, Nadija. Yes, definitely. I mean, if we all work together, if we become responsible in whatever we do, I think it's definitely going to be better. Yes. So I'll finish my screen share. Okay. So Sydney, the floor is yours.
Okay, madam. Thank you very much, madam, for your great awareness about fashion for a better future. So we hope this session has given you a clear understanding about fashion and its future opportunity. So let me share our contact details. So you can contact us through these. And also, uh, thank you for valuable participation for you all, and have a nice day.